So if you send or spend your Bitcoin, it goes to someone else's. Whoever receives it, it now reflects in their entry on the master. And then those numbers change on every computer. Within a second or two, all of those 100,000 computers, all running Bitcoin, all synchronized, and all have the latest version of that spreadsheet that reflects the ownership. So what you own when you own Bitcoin is replicated to more than 100,000 computers around the world that run an entire copy of the Bitcoin blockchain. In my case, I have a computer that runs two different copies. I have two different copies of the entire Bitcoin blockchain that I run at my house, and you can do the same thing for less than $500. Although there's no reason to for most people, but you can. You can even download the software onto your home computer if it has enough hard drive space. Okay, so how do we enforce that 21 million Bitcoin limit? So the Wall Street Journal, this was a major headline article. Behind Bitcoin's rally is a simple fact. Supplies are limited. Even the Wall Street Journal says, yep, 21 million. There's never going to be more than 21 million that will ever exist. So all of the Bitcoin that will ever exist is 21 million, and no one can make more. And Bitcoin is hard-coded to disconnect anyone who tries. So if any one of those 100,000 computers that are running an entire copy of the entire Bitcoin blockchain, every transaction that's ever happened in human history, if any of them tries to change that rule, they are forcibly disconnected and orphaned from the network. So the other Bitcoin computers say, if you don't say there's 21 million, you can't play with us anymore. And they're literally disconnected and ultimately banned from the Bitcoin network, leaving all the other computers that are playing by the rules. So there are more than 100,000 computers enforcing that rule that there will only be 21 million. And that limit can only change if everyone on the Bitcoin network agrees. All 100,000 computers. Otherwise, whichever agree that, hey, we're sticking with 21 million. Otherwise, whoever tries to break the rules is just kicked off of the network. So including you, if you run what's called a Bitcoin node, which is a little computer that costs less than $500, or the software on your computer, even you can have a veto power to make sure that nobody ever changes that 21 million limit. But you don't need to worry about that because there's 100,000 other people already worried about that for you, including me, to make sure that that 21 million Bitcoin limit is never changed. You can veto changes to the $21 million limit. With politicians, they decide how much money to print out of thin air. They decide, and you don't. Bitcoin gives you an opportunity to, if you could stop that money printer, you would. Bitcoin gives you an opportunity to stop the money printer because you have a veto right as a Bitcoin user to make sure there is never more than 21 million.